Hey guys, Parfax here. Today, I am bringing you my starter builds for New World. All right, let's get started. So before I start this video, I want to let everyone know that I will be doing a giveaway on Thursday, next Thursday. Man, launch is almost here. We're going to be doing a giveaway, a big giveaway. We're going to do a complete game. It is out of my pocket. New World never gave me anything for free, but it's just sort of thank you guys for watching the YouTube videos and supporting the Twitch channel. We'll be streaming 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern time, so make sure you get out there, show some love. If you like to stop by, maybe get a copy of the game, and yeah, let's get on to the video. So we are here on newworldfans.com. It's a great place for anything New World. All the resources, you have guides, they have a builder, they have a data space, they have a great map that allows you to see anything that you can possibly put on there, from resources to any points of interest. It's a great resource. You can go here, see the guides. You have a harvesting guide, gathering guide. You have my quick tips here. You can also see it on my YouTube channel, but if you're looking for a written guide, make sure you go here and check it out. There's just a lot of things on this website that are absolutely amazing, and I use it all the time. So let's start talking about the builder. Now we're gonna have 2 ranged weapons. In this one, we originally had video for all 4 weapons, but it ended up being way too long, so we're actually re-recording it, and we're going to go over the first 2 ranged weapons in this video, and then we're going to go over the 2 melee weapons in the next video. So first, we're going to talk about our attribute points, and it's going to be kind of the same for both sets of weapons. So the way I level up my weapons always is I'm going to put a point into whatever my main attribute is. So for instance, if we have a Ice Gauntlet equipped, we're going to put intelligence. But remember, when you start the game off, you're going to have a sword and shield. You might find a 2-handed axe. So just points into whatever the main scaling weapon is for that. And whenever we can, obviously when you swap weapons, you respec it into whatever weapon you are, and you can respec your attributes all the way up to level 20 for free. But whenever you get 50 points or have the ability to put 50 points into your tree here, I always put 50 points into Constitution, because this passive, all health consumables are 20% stronger, is absolutely amazing. And especially early game, we really don't need the damage. The damage, we will have it through our base abilities. It is very easy. So make sure you put points into here, unless you have like a pocket healer that heals you so well that you never actually need it. You get so much defenses for just a little bit of an investment here at the 50-point passive. And remember, you're going to have extra Constitution just lying around, because you're going to get an amulet early game. You're going to get your gear with on it. So you're going to have the ability to put easily 50 points into Constitution really early. And I always do that first. Now let's go down here to the weapon tree. So the thing to keep in mind when it comes to leveling your weapons in New World is we have different trees and we have rows. So consider this row 1, row 2, row 3, 4, 5, and 6. In order to put a point into a row, you have to have a point in the previous row. What does that mean? So if I want to get to Ice Storm as fast as possible, that's the best ability for the Ice Gauntlet, I have to have a point in row 1 before I can put a point in row 2. The only exception is this last ultimate ability. You have to have 10 points in that specific tree to grab it. So now that we have a base understanding that, let's start talking about how we're going to build our tree. Now remember, we can respec our weapons all the way up to, I believe, level 10. So we're going to utilize that a lot. So first ability that I put into the tree is going to be Ice Pylon. I always put this ability right here. This is a great ability early game. It does a little bit of damage. It tanks a little bit for you. It's just an overall great skill. You can utilize it by plopping it down when someone's fighting a mob and just getting random experience for just throwing it down and running past the mob. You'll just get experience. The only thing to keep in mind is it will pull aggro. If let's say you're fighting one wolf and another wolf walks past as the pylon's still up, the pylon will attack the wolf. So just keep that in mind, but a great skill. Second point we're going to put in is actually Ice Spikes. Now, Ice Spikes is one of my least favorite ice abilities. It might be my least favorite, but it is going to give us a little bit extra damage and really utilize our mana. So we're going to put our second point into there. Third point we're going to put into our bread and butter skill, which is Ice Storm. This ability is absolutely insane. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, on our fourth point, it's going to get a little weird. So my fourth point, we're going to put it up here into Cold Reach, because the next ability we really want on our bar is Entomb. But we have 3 abilities in our bar, and in order to us not to go down to just 2 abilities, we're going to need a couple extra points. So on our 5th point, though, what we're going to do is we're going to respec this tree, which remember we have 3 points in currently. We're going to put 2. We're going to put 1 here in Cold Reach. We're going to put 1 here in Ice Storm. Now we only had 1 point into here. Remember, we had a point in Ice Pylon, but we have an extra one from here plus our passive that we got from just leveling up. So we're going to have our point in here already. Then we're just going to go down here to either increase damage of Ice Pylon for 10% slowed enemies or regain 3 mana for each spell you've cast within a frost area. We're probably just going to go Empowered Frost, and then we're going to go down to Entomb. So now we're going to have our 3 abilities. Now you can start just picking up the passes as you want if you're feeling Ice Pylon still doing well. Once you start feeling the Ice Pylon just not doing a very good job, that's when you're just going to spec into Ice Shower, and then on the Ice Pylon side, instead of Ice Pylon, you're just going to put it into Blocked Stamina. So once you're able to do that, you can do it. I don't spec into Ice Shower typically too early. I think it's around like level 6 or 7 when Ice Pylon starts to kind of get negated and I start really ramping up on my Fire Staff. That's when I swap to Ice Shower, because it's essentially just going to debuff an enemy and allow you to do a lot of damage when you swap to your second weapon, or you're just pounding them with your auto attacks or keeping them in your Ice Storm. So now that we've talked about that, we're going to go over the rest of the skill tree. You can just kind of fill in as you go, but we're going to take this skill last. Make sure you take this one pretty close to last. But we have Cold Rage, which increases light and heavy attacks by 15% to targets further than 15 meters away. We're going to have Energized Critical, increase critical damage of ice spells by 15% at full stamina. Of course, we have our Ice Storm. And then we're going to pump it up by doing Weakening Gust. Incoming damage is increased by 10% for 3 seconds to enemies in Ice Storm if below 50% health. So nice little execute small passive there. Then we have Ice Storm. Mana cost is decreased by 80% at full mana. So always cast this first if you can. It costs almost nothing with this passive up. It's pretty insane. Next, we're going to have Punishing Storm. Increase damage by 10% for each enemy inside the Ice Storm. This is pretty insane. If you pull a big group of mobs or big group of enemies, you put this down, and it is just going to start chunking them for damage. And then we have Critical Frost and Gathering Storm. We should talk about Gathering Storm. It just gives us some mana back. We are going to have mana issues. We are running 2 magic weapons, but we'll talk about that here in a second. Then we have increased critical chance if hitting an enemy in a frosted area or with frostbite by 20%. So this is going to help. Once you get that passive, you can feel free to get critical rejuvenation, because then we're just going to get 15 mana back a little bit more once we have this critical frost passive. Then we have heavy attacks will freeze a target if hit in Ice Storm or with frostbite for 1 second, which is going to be pretty great. We're going to apply frostbite. We're going to put down our storm. And we're just going to heavy attack and freeze them, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Then we have ultimate chill. Ice abilities chill targets, increasing ice damage by 35% for 5 seconds. Just an insane damage buff. Next on this side of the tree, we already talked about blocking stamina, but it just blocks with an Ice Gauntlet will convert mana into stamina on hit, 3 mana to 15 stamina. Honestly, there's just no good passives here. Increase speed by 10% in frost areas isn't that great. So we're just going to take this for a little bit extra utility. Then we're going to go Ice Shower. Now, I know some people would like to put points in here, but here's the thing. Ice Shower, typically you put it down as someone's on top of you to slow them, or you're kiting backwards. If you're kiting backwards, then it doesn't really matter because people can just walk around it. But if you put it on them, it's doing most of its effectiveness right off the bat. The passives, as you're going to see here, don't really pump it up. So we have increased the slow duration to 7 seconds, which is pretty good. I mean, don't get me wrong, we like the 7 seconds, which you could put a point in here, but I don't really like it that much. And then an ally, including self, will get a 25% speed boost for 2 seconds when entering an Ice Shower. Typically, you're kiting backwards, and you throw this in front of you, so you're not going to be in the Ice Shower when you throw it. So you have to like go forward to go through it and then go back, but you're almost losing 2 seconds anyway. So unless you're throwing out in front of you as you're getting chased, it's not really a great passive. And then actually a good passive, which Frostbite applies rend to targets, reducing defenses by 10%, but it's really not worth 2 passive points down here because this passive really is not that great at all. I can see if you want to take this, increasing the shower duration to 7 seconds is okay. But like I said, people are just going to walk around it, and you're just going to hit them with it right off the bat. So I really don't see much of a need for this 7-second duration. I'd much rather have better passives. Next, we have slow slow enemies by 25% for 2 seconds when they hit you with a melee attack while you're at 100% health. So if you're at full health, someone comes up and slaps you, you get a little bit, almost like a reverse haste. You get the slow on them. Then you can hit them with your ice shower, hit them with your ice storm. It's kind of a win-win for you in a sense, as long as they don't kill you, right? All right, we have Refreshing Frost, reduce all active cooldowns for ice abilities by 20% when casting an ability in a frosted area. We're not going to use this passive that much, but it is still pretty good if we are standing in the ice shower or the ice storm. But this is definitely one of the weakest passives we have, but the 20% is pretty big. So whenever we can proc this, it's pretty insane. Next, we have Defiant Freeze. Casting an ice ability creates an ice hardened layer, granting 20% fortify for 2 seconds. I mean, what's more to say about more defenses? Because we do need it. And speaking of defenses, we have Entomb. Essentially, without reading this whole entire paragraph of stuff, you basically entomb yourself into a gigantic pylon that has a lot more defenses than the pylon, and you'll get your mana back really quickly. And it lasts up to 10 seconds, but players can beat it down. This is going to be one of your best ways to sustain. I like to use this. I will go and I'll pull every mob and then just freeze up and have them hit me while my friends are beating on them, and it's pretty fun. You have increased the defense by 25% for 3 seconds after breaking out of Entomb, which is going to give us a nice little, buffer here once we break out of our Entomb, and then cleanses all debuffs when being entombed. So we're just to cleanse. It's defenses. It gives you mana back. It's just overall great ability. And now that we've talked a lot about Ice Staff, let's talk about the Fire Staff. Now we're gonna do a little bit something similar here. So the first ability here, we're gonna go Pillar of Flame, because this is just a decent little ability. Next, I like to go either Flamethrower or Meteor Shower. If you have a group, Meteor Shower is definitely a little better. If not, I go a little bit of Flamethrower. Both of these are kind of a little bit awkward when you are casting it on, if you're just doing it by yourself, if you're just solo playing. If solo playing, I probably like Meteor Shower just a little bit better, because you can cast it at a decent distance, and then whenever they get close to you, you can just cancel it and go at your business. And then after that, we're just going to start working our way down here towards Incinerate. So the next ability, we are going to put a point into Fireball, because Fireball is just really good. And then we're just going to start working our way towards the Incinerate, which is going to be our bread and butter. So from there, you're just going to put points into, then you're going to put the next point into Incinerate, and then you're just going to work your way down to Burnout, and then respec the tree to kind of match the tree. We're not going to go over step by step like we did the Ice Gauntlet. You can kind of see what I'm doing here. You can just start slowly respecking out of different abilities here. And once you get your Burnout, once you get enough points to get down to Burnout, you can spec out of these two, and then put points into the Spell Force, and then put points into Clear Mind. So it's pretty self-explanatory, but I wanted to go over that still as well. But let's talk about Incinerate, because this is going to be our bread and butter. We are getting a bunch of passives in this build, but Incinerate does insane damage. So we just have a basic ability here. 130% weapon damage, pushes back enemies 3 meters, not a big deal. Catches enemies on fire, dealing 3% weapon damage each second for 6 seconds. Cool. Let's get on the list here. Each hit of Incinerate causes an additional stack of burning. Cool. We are burning a lot, and we're going to really utilize our burns. We have Cauterizing Wounds, restore 20% of incinerated damage as health. Wow, that's pretty good, because this ability is pretty good. Well, you know what's better than just getting 20% of casting your Incinerate one time? How about Flame Out, Incinerate hits twice. You deal twice, you hit them twice, you deal double damage. You're gonna get twice the health back. I keep like twice. You're gonna get twice the amount of health back. You're gonna deal twice percentage damage. You're just going to add, this ability absolutely nukes. The best way to use this though, is it does have a channel time on it, is to actually hit them with the Ice Shower, and then hit him with Incinerate. Ice Shower is basically going to slow him to a halt, and you're just going to be able to get your Incinerate off. It is pretty annoying when you get interrupted, and it does take off the cooldown, but whenever you hit this ability, it is absolutely insane. Then we're going to go Burnout, and this is just going to apply some more burning to our targets. It's a dash. You can use this to get away, or use it to burn your targets. I love to use it offensively instead of defensively, but it's a defensive skill as well. We have Fire Staff cooldowns are reduced by 5% for each enemy hit by Burnout, which is another reason why I like to use it offensively. And then we just have Burnout goes 50% farther, which is really cool. Now let's talk about the passives. We're going pretty much mana regen and damage. So we have, while holding a Fire Staff in below 50% max health, damage is increased by 20%. We have, whenever burn deals damage, gain 10% fortify for 2 seconds. Awesome. Burning lasts 20% longer. We have multiple abilities that burn, so we just get 20% longer tick on it. Then we have heavy attacks restore 5% of our maximum mana on hit, which is awesome. Then heavy attacks reduce fire staff cooldowns by 10% on hit. So we have 2 heavy attack things down. All right, so then we have, where's it? I think it's right here. The heavy attacks no longer consume mana. So when we do a heavy attack, we're gonna get 5% mana back. It's not gonna cost us anything. And on hit, we're gonna get 10% on hit for our cooldowns. So great way, we're gonna be doing a lot of heavy attacks on the fire staff. It's pretty good. Next we're gonna do, while above 50% mana, you gain 10% powered, which is nice. We have, whenever you get a critical hit with a fire staff, causes burning, dealing 3% weapon damage for each second for 6 seconds. And we have, if you haven't taken damage in the last 3 seconds, deal 10% more damage. We get a nice little boost there. Your abilities gain an extra 15% chance to critical strike. We love crit. Heavy attacks no longer consume mana, which we talked about. And then while holding a fire staff, your critical strike damage is increased by 20%. Wow, that's a lot of damage. Now on this side, we just have whenever burn deals damage, gain 10% fortify. I think we talked about this. We talked about all the skills. Okay, so the only thing that you can do if you want to possibly get this reheat bonus down here is I would take a point out of singed here whenever you get a critical hit with a fire staff. Causes burning, dealing 3% weapon damage for each second for 6 seconds. I like to stack as much burning, but if you want to take a point out of here and then put down to reheat after 6 seconds without activating a fire ability, your mana regen is increased by 400%. You can. It's not something that I necessarily suggest because with Entomb, with these, you will have a decent amount of mana regen, but while playing this build, you will have to chug mana potions a lot because you're going to be struggling for mana until you get a lot of these passives. But if you really still feel like you're struggling for mana, then I would just take a point out of singed and put it into reheat. All right, so that has been, we've spent a lot of time already. Imagine doing 4 of these, right? So now that we've talked about the Ice Gauntlet Fire Staff, let's talk about our second ranged weapon set here. And it's gonna be 1 ranged and 1 melee. So we're gonna go over the attributes again. We're gonna do the exact same thing. We're putting 50 points Constitution, the rest into Dexterity. We're not gonna go over that anymore. Same premise the first one did. All right, so next we have the bow. Everyone's favorite. You can do musket, but I prefer bow. And the bow is just a lot of fun. I know a lot of people love the bow. That's why I put it in here. Musket is a little bit more just try to get headshots, where the bow is a little bit more active gameplay, which is the reason why I put the bow here over the musket. Now in speccing bow, we're actually gonna pretty much follow the build almost to a T. We're gonna get penetrating shot because it's just a nice big damage bonus. Then we're actually just gonna go long range and aim true. You're gonna see we have a lot of damage on this tree. So we're gonna stack it as high as we can. So we have deal 20% more damage to foes at least 10 meters away. Then we have heavy attack arrows fly faster and deal 30% more damage. So that is at 10 meters away. That is essentially 50% more damage on our heavy attacks. That's pretty insane for just 2 passives. And then we have penetrating shot obviously on top of it. Next, after that, we're gonna go over here. We're gonna get our evade shot. And then I'm actually gonna, next point, I'm gonna go evade shot causes knockdown. And then we are actually gonna go over here to poison shot. So we actually don't have to do any respecking in this tree. We can just go straight down the line and get our abilities. Typically, like I said, I like to go into a playstyle where we get our 3 abilities as fast as possible. But with this build, we're gonna get so much damage off of these 3 right here that it's really gonna carry us. If we have a little bit of semi sort of AoE, you will actually pierce your arrow through the targets. So if you can line them up, you can get a little bit of AoE, and then we have big single target damage there. So now let's just talk about the passives. So we have, after you dodge, deal 20% more damage for 5 seconds. That's insane. We are going to be dodging a lot. We have go the distance, evade shot, grants you 5 seconds of 15% haste, which is great. We like to move faster. We're going to kite a lot with this build. We have infect arrow, poison shot. Poison now deals 12% weapon damage per second for 20 seconds, which is a very long debuff and really good. And then if you directly hit a target with poison shot, it deals 200% more damage. So this is going to do a lot of damage if you can land the poison shot on people. You can go something like rain of arrows if you really like and go the bleed route, but I really do like the poison shot. It actually is pretty good. Next, we just have one last passive here, and we have deal 10% more damage to foes suffering a debuff. So we're just going to debuff them with poison shot mainly, and we're just going to get a 10% buff on our damaging abilities. Pretty insane. Imagine we're stacking a lot of damage here. Next, On this tree, we have Finishing Shot. If your target is below 50% health, deal 20% more damage. One of the best execute passives in the game. We have Deep Strike's Penetrating Shot deals 20% more damage to targets 20 meters or more away. We forgot about this one. We'll go to it in a second, which is great. So we have 20 meters away. We have 20% damage. We have another 20% damage. It's just, and if they're under 50% health, we got another 20% damage. Like I said, we are just stacking damage on top of damage. And then, top it off, we have increased damage by 10% after each hit. So you get 3 enemies. That's 30%. So your Penetrating Shot will hit 30%, 50%, 70% harder if he goes through 3 enemies at 20 meters away. Insane, right? Heavy attacks deal plus 20% damage to foes with 100% health. Wow. So we're getting 30% here, 20% here, and now we're getting another 20% here if they're at full health. And then if they're not at full health and they're down below 50%, we're getting 20% more damage. So essentially on most mobs, you can hit them once with this because of our bonuses. It's going to put them probably below 50% health, and then you hit them one more time and they're dead. It's kind of how you're going to work this. And then bow shots critically chance, or has an increased critical chance by 10%, which is great. We have when you land a headshot, heal yourself for 10%, just a little bit of sustain. And then we have when you land a headshot, you deal 20% more damage and a chance, a 0.0% chance to get your arrow back. I'm pretty sure this scales up with your level, if I remember correctly, or it's not a 0% chance. I'm not exactly sure on concussion here. I had to get into the game to actually see the exact numbers there, but a good passive. If you're not sure and you don't like the headshot one, maybe you're like not very confident on your headshots, you can take something like if you haven't damaged a foe in the last 10 seconds, deal 20% extra damage. This is just going to be your first shot. You hit them, you know, you have 100% health, you get this debuff, you have all these bonuses, and you can just nuke people down, or mobs, whichever you're choosing. All right, our second weapon is going to be the spear. This is a pretty typical combo, but we're going to spec this one a little bit differently, sort of like the Ice Gauntlet. So first ability, we're actually going to take Skewer, then we're going to go Perforate. These 2 abilities are actually really good. And then next, we're going to go down to probably Javelin. You can take Javelin or Vault Kick, whichever one you're, feeling more comfortable with. A Vault Kick for me is a little easier to land because this ability has a very large drop rate. Like, its drop rate is pretty insane. So if you're trying to hit enemies far away from you, it can be a little bit, weird. But it still is a pretty decent ability. So either one of these CC abilities you'd like. And then the next level, if you took Vault Kick, you're just going to respec it. And if you took Javelin, you're fine. We're going to get our Sweep. And then we're just going to respec out of Perforate. And we're going to put a point into Precise Jabs. And then after that, we are going to put a point into Crippling Jabs. But we're going to respec Skewer and get our Vault Kick. So we're going to be able to get our full abilities there. Once you get there, you're just a CC bot. You are pretty insane. And we'll go over the passives now. So we have critical chance on light attacks for plus 5%. We have all spear cooldowns are reduced by 10% on the second hit of a light attack chain. Then we have the last hit of the light attack chain applies a 30% slow for 3 seconds to the target below 30% health. We have 15% damage against targets with less than 30% health. Another little execute, but a little mini one. Like the other one, the bow, was what, 20% under 50% health. This is 15% under 30% health. That's why that pass is so great on the bow. Pretty insane. Then, of course, we have our Vault Kick, which is a nice big CC. We have Gain Empowered after successfully hit on targets below 50% health, increasing your damage done by 20%, which is pretty cool. Then cooldowns for other spear abilities are reduced by 30% on successful hit. Then we have the first successful hit with an ability within 2 seconds after dodging reduces spear cooldowns by 20%. So if you could like dodge, then do your Vault Kick, you get a large, you get a 50% reduction on your spear abilities, which is pretty cool. You can start spamming them almost. Next, we'll go over here to our CC side, and or at least more CC than this side. And we have evasive maneuvers, dodging backwards consumes 20 less stamina. You're gonna see here, we are gonna really go on the stamina train on this side. Then we have 25% damage against knockdown enemies, which we have 2 knockdowns, because we're gonna spec into targets are knocked down on our Javelin. Then we have gain Fortify after successfully heavy attack, increasing absorption by 15% for 2 seconds. So we have a lot of knockdowns, so you can really utilize the fully charged heavy attack. We have restore 20 stamina on critical hits, which is insane. Then we have 30% stamina regen when your stamina is below 50% health. We have our sweep. Then we have grit activates when we, while we're doing the attack. And then we have press the basic attack during the sweep and follow up with a powerful downward stab dealing 125% more damage. If you don't really want this, you can maybe spec into headshots, reduce the cooldown by 50% if you're good with headshots. I personally am not that great with headshots. That's why we go with this. And what you do is you do a sweep. And then if you can get a fully charged heavy attack off, which would be great. Then we are going to do 25% damage while stamina is full. Like I said, we are going to try to get as much stamina on this bar as possible so that we can move. We are going to be in medium armor for this build or light. So the first build, you're always going to be in light. I like light armor. I didn't mention it when we went to the, the ice gauntlet and the fire staff. We're going to be in light. This build, you can go medium if you want to focus more on melee. But if you really, really, really want to push the damage, go light. Now, the reason why I say to go medium, in my opinion, is because you do have a lot of CCs. We have the vault kick, we have the javelin throw, we have the sweep, and we have the knockback shot here from the skirmisher side of the bow. So I think medium is probably the best bet for this build. If you want to go light and go full glass cannon, more power to you. Get the better dodge, get more damage. But with this build, you have a lot of CC, so I particularly like to use the medium armor to really access that CC duration on the medium armor tree, and it's just really, really good in my opinion. That's why I would go medium with this and light with the ice gauntlet fire staff. All right, guys, wow, what a long video. It's only 2. We still have 2 more to go. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. If you're looking for 2 melee builds to run, just tune into the next video. We will have it. It'll be up probably the day after this one comes out. Make sure you tune in. Have a great day. Like, comment, subscribe, follow the Twitch, Twitter, all that good stuff. Giveaway on Thursday. And remember, Turnham comes out. You can play it Tuesday. Let's go. Bye.